Precisa ferir a pressão, medir a glicemia ou tomar uma vacina? Na Drogasil tem exames, testes e calendário vacinal completo. E o que é melhor, tem sempre uma Drogasil aí perto de você. É fácil, prático e rápido. Dá para ir entre uma música e outra. Procure nossos farmacêuticos. Quanto mais você conhece o que a gente faz na Drogasil, mais você se cuida.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Birds of the Roundtable. Today, we're talking Eagles, top question marks, biggest bounce back candidates, top takeaways from OTAs. Joining me, he is Ryan Reese. Go give him a shout out on X at Philly Sports PSA. What's up, Ryan?
Not much, man. Ready to talk a little OTAs. We finally get just a little bit of Eagles football, just a taste until the main course that is training camp in about a month and a half.
Yes, sir. Also joining us, as always, he is David. Go give him a shout out on X at PHL Eagle News. What's up, David?
Not much, man. Yeah, we better enjoy OTAs while we got them. Looks like they might be gone next year. Just the extended training camp next summer.
Yeah, I heard.
Well, it is overreaction season. Guys, if you're watching us live, please be sure to comment with us. Let us know your thoughts. We're going to go through a gambit of Eagles questions, storylines, all that fun stuff. Dave says, are you still losing? Ryan, are you still losing followers on X?
Always. I feel like this foundation of my followers were all fake, and now they're just finally realizing that I'm not what they like. So I'll get them back. Don't worry.
Shane couldn't be here tonight. He's got some other things going on. We miss him greatly, but the show must go on. Let's get into OTAs. Top takeaways. David, lead us off, man.
I think the couple things that stood out to me, one was Devin White looked good. Again, it's early, but he was following Saquon on a wheel route, and he kept up. So I don't know. That was pretty entertaining to watch. He's a guy that they got. He's a high payoff, a very low risk. I mean, so I think it was a really good signing and somebody who could really end up paying big dividends for him down the road. Also, I thought it was interesting. DeJean played second team nickel corner and third team outside corner and did not appear to have any safety play during this. I think Deibs and I spoke about it at some point on the last show that the only way he might see safety this year is if somebody gets hurt. So he might just be what he keeps saying he's doing, that he's going to play corner. And he also fielded punts, which was kind of interesting because I was curious if they would want to risk, a top 40 pick like that on punt returns, and it looks like that he might be in play for that.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch Cooper at training camp, man. It's going to be so much fun. That's one of the top storylines for me. What about you, Ryan? What was your kind of top takeaway?
Yeah, listen, I just think, again, from what we're reading and all that, I think the defense just looks better, honestly. I mean, it's, we obviously are very worried about the people that we have lost, but I think we brought in and replaced a lot of that talent within the draft and free agency. And yeah, I think they just overall, I just think the defense kind of looked pretty decent for being, the first week of kind of getting out there. So it's an encouraging sight. I'd like to see a lot more, obviously. But yeah, I can't wait to see kind of how this defense unfolds, because I feel like it could go a lot of different ways with all the new faces here.
Yeah, the defense is the biggest storyline for me, and that's where I went. It's the new look secondary, which was we all know bottom tier in the league last year. You saw Avonte Maddox lining up in the slot and at safety, but more importantly, I want to give a shout out to Isaiah Rodgers, who impressed for sure. There's this picture right there up on the screen. He was out there making plays opposite Darius Slay. This is a guy who hasn't stepped on a football field since injuring his knee back in 2022. That's over 500 days of no football, and he looks solid. And it's easy to forget that Rodgers was PFF's 5th highest graded cornerback when he who played at least 400 snaps back in 2022. And you take that with a grain of salt. PFF, you can kind of skew those stats any way you want them. But man, in that season, he played 385 of his snaps at outside corner, 11 in the slot. He had a missed tackle percentage of 8.3% and 2 defensive scores. For reference purposes, D. Slay had a missed tackle percentage of 10.3% last year. Pretty solid. And, you can go and break down those PFF stats, but his numbers were pretty darn good, especially when you compare him to like James Bradbury, who had a better season than Darius Slay back in 2022. Obviously, he didn't play as many snaps as James Bradbury, but just a 58.6% completion rate. For me, Isaiah Rodgers and this crowded Eagles secondary, that's going to be a bloodbath. I think that is going to be the most fun position to watch.
He looked really confident out there too. He was vocal. He had good body language. He played on the outside. And you mentioned Bradbury, who's a no-show again, it appears today in OTAs, just like last week. So they are optional, but I don't know, man. It seems like that could be a little writing on the wall. And Rodgers, he's impressed everybody in the building so far. So, and one other guy back there, Maddox, he took reps at safety. He took some nickel corner reps, but looks like versatility is going to be the key for him making the roster. I don't know that he's got a sure, a lot of people thought he might be starting at the nickel or starting at safety, but it doesn't look that way to start things off. It looks like versatility is going to be his key.
Cooper. Oh, excuse me. Just slot corner for Cooper there is going to be his position. We got some comments rolling in. Rick has some tickets to some Eagles games.
All right.
They are electronic transfer, section 106, row 15.
109.
Vikings, August 24th, and the Falcons, September 16th. Go give Rick Kuhn a shout out on Facebook. Eagles tickets. Philly Irish says defense looks good, got younger, but could use more depth on the defensive line. I have a feeling we're going to be talking about the defensive line a lot tonight moving forward. Isaiah Rodgers is slept on, says Davey. Bradbury's definitely gone. There's no question his days in
our hearts
are numbered.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank God. I think he could, if he could be traded, he would have been gone already. I don't know. I don't know how much trade value he has. Cooper may start at the nickel. Absolutely. That is definitely in the cards. Davey, I see it everywhere, but no, incredible. We need Cooper and Quignon to change those jerseys.
No. As a jersey collector, I need somebody to keep 33, damn it.
Ryan already got his jersey.
If Zach McPherson doesn't make the team, I would not be surprised if Quignon gets his college number 27 really quick when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's fine.
Ooh, this sounds really fun. Can you do a draft of the worst players in Eagles history? Let's take a mental note of that.
Yes,
we're always looking for ideas during the offseason. That sounds
it's coming through.
Yep. You're going to have the 2 rookies start with Slay this year. Quignon will be starting, no doubt. But
maybe at some point.
Yeah, down the road this season. All right. Anybody have any other OTA takeaways before we roll on to our next question?
Steen looked good, and it looks like he has as much competition as Juergens did last year. And by that, I mean none. Hennessy was the guy backing him up there. And I saw that Pickett. I think Ed Cracks is the one who posted it, that Pickett looked good, and it started a complete storm. But I think he was just trying to get the point across that Pickett looked good. I mean, he's coming over here a little better than advertised. So that got me wondering if the Eagles could feel comfortable with him, because they're going to have a number crunch when they're trying to get that initial 53. I wonder if they just go 2 quarterbacks like they did a couple years ago and risk Tanner McKee if they're certain that they got Pickett for a couple years.
Yeah, that's a really good comment. Like, there is going to be a position they have to kind of cut the fat just a little bit. Quarterback could be one of them, maybe running back. Instead of going 4, they go with 3. I think we had 3 on our initial 53-man roster. But I could easily see them going 4, given Saquon's injury history and things like that.
Yeah. Well, listen, I think a lot of people are just, it's easy and it's fun to pile on Kenny Pickett. And, but honestly, I'm really excited to have him on the squad. I've liked him. I'm a Pitt fan, so I've watched a lot of his games, in college. And listen, is he, the next, coming? Obviously not. But I still think as a backup, we have a really, really good one right now. And that's what the Eagles love to do.
Absolutely.
Especially in the Kellen Moore system that's going to be more horizontal this year. I think we saw during his days, at Pitt, Kenny Pickett on the move was excellent. And I think those are some of the things we're hoping to see from Jalen Hurts more of in 2024. I think Keely Ringo gets traded. I don't see that happening. No. Let's roll. Wait, they're rolling tonight. I thought Tanner showed a lot of promise. Kind of sad he won't be number 2. He did. Tanner McKee was, he had some moments there last preseason. It's going to be another big preseason for Tanner McKee for sure. Let's roll.
He won me 2 weeks in our fantasy battles at the beginning during preseason. He won me both weeks as my quarterback pick. So yeah, I'm a big fan.
Let's roll on to our next question of the evening. What category does Jalen Hurts belong among his peers, among quarterbacks? PFF had a breakdown of their quarterbacks. It was number 1, the Mahomes tier, number 2, the elite tier, number 3, the postseason quarterback tier, and number 4, the melting pot tier. Ryan and I kind of touched on this a little bit on last night's Party on Broad. Lead us off, David. Where would you put Hurts in that category?
I put him in the elite tier. I think that he would have to work on a couple of things, and I think that's the next question, so I won't say that now. But yeah, I would put him in the elite tier. I do think he's a top 5-ish quarterback, and that's anything outside of that probably isn't elite. But I agree, Mahomes is in a category by himself, and then there's 4 or 5 more guys who can carry teams, and I think he's one of them. I think he showed that with, I don't know what his record is, 25-7 or whatever over the last 2 years. I mean, it's pretty incredible. I do think that's elite type talent.
Here's a poll here. 53% of the votes going to the elite tier. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm with David here. I really do think he is in the elite tier. Again, you look at some of the other quarterbacks that are, supposedly in this tier. They're, they have their ups and downs, just like Jalen Hurts has, and they've certainly had, rough seasons, rough games. And listen, I think, moving forward, I really like the fact that, we have Kellen Moore here. I think that he's going to do wonders for Hurts, getting back to the Super Bowl run, Jalen Hurts that we saw. And honestly, I'm just excited for him to get back to that because you've seen it. You know it's there. It's just you got to unlock it, you got to keep it unlocked, and you got to be consistent with it. And I think that's going to be the goal this year.
Yeah, no disrespect. I disagree. I'm in that tier 3 for Jalen for the postseason caliber quarterback like we've seen. And it's not just his fault, of course. And I'm not saying he played bad by any means. But I still need to see him prove it with his arm, against the blitz. I need to see him adjust with Kellen Moore in 2024. He had some really nice flashes, but he's got definite upside to get into that elite tier. Would you really take Lamar Jackson over Jalen Hurts?
Would I? Probably not. I mean, in 2022, Jalen Hurts, before he got hurt and had to miss the last couple of weeks, was the MVP of the league. To me, that's elite tier. Last year, the Eagles were 10-1 after 11 games. He was being spoke of as the front runner for MVP yet again. That's back-to-back seasons of close MVP-type play. I mean, to me, that's an elite tier. The guy's, 26 years old? I mean, I think he's a guy you can build around. Everybody loves playing with him. Everybody loves being his teammate. Those are the kind of guys who I'd want to keep around as long as I possibly could.
Man, some really
damn,
a lot of slander in the comments on Jalen Hurts going on right now.
That is hurtful.
But I'm more of a 2-3. You know, I'm kind of in that middle.
And I get that. Listen, he does need to prove it. It's not like he just, is automatically thrown in there. He needs to prove it day in and day out that he can stay in that or be considered in that elite tier. And listen, we've seen the ups and downs. Last year, he did not play very well. There were moments, there were games that he was doing things that you were jaw on the floor type things. But then there were also things that were head scratchers that you were just like, how is he not getting this? So we need all of that to come to a head. We need the consistency, and we need to figure out where he is. But I think we have seen the ability. He has the ability to be in that elite tier. He just needs the right consistency, the right scheme, the whole thing. And I get it. The argument against that is, an elite quarterback will outdo whatever scheme he might be in. But that I don't believe that necessarily. I think if you put Mahomes in another, scheme that may not be fit for him, I still think he'll be a great quarterback, but I don't know if we'll be calling him his own tier,
So what percentage do you put on Hurts with that offense last year, especially on third and longs, third downs? We all know the offensive play calling was god awful. So many vertical routes. They refused to ever go back to the quick slants, the check downs, the comebacks, you name it, utilizing running backs. But on one end, I have to put Jalen Hurts partly to blame for that as well, because there were times when he was forcing the ball way too much to Quez. And at what point do you say, Jalen, you're an elite quarterback, like you have to recognize the problem? Any thoughts on that?
I think it's honestly, I think it's 50-50. I think this was probably the first time where Jalen, they were basically where he had to go above and beyond the system and what was going on the field and do it himself. I'm not saying he's probably never had to, but carry the entire weight of an offense that, let's be honest, wasn't really helping him out this past year. So I think this is kind of just a learning experience. He didn't know exactly how to handle everything and being able to, do the simple things because he was probably over processing everything. And I think simplifying and not having that pressure of being, the absolute mastermind behind an offense when you're a quarterback, just play quarterback. That's what he needs to concentrate on. And I think Kellen Moore will do that for him. Let him concentrate on being the quarterback, making his normal reads, making his normal adjustments, not having to basically build the offense on the fly because of ineptitude.
I just saw so many times when he missed guys, easy yardage, not refusing to take what the defense gave him, not seeing the field properly, bailing on pockets way too much. And I don't want to pile on Jalen Hurts because I don't think he played bad at all, as I said. But there were some big moments that I expect more. Any thoughts, David?
I mean, like I said a few moments ago, when they were 10-1, he was the MVP frontrunner of the league. He was doing something right. He was MVP frontrunner of the entire league. So you're talking about the last 6 weeks of the year, he was injured. He was playing through injury. The play calling was so bad that the offense went rogue and called their own plays. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how palpable he is, but I do not think it's 75% or 50%. I think it's way less than that. I think the wheels fell off of everything.
Yeah. Riku says the guy took a safety in a playoff game with a good pocket. Jalen is on notice. His leadership was non-existent. 10-1, good times. Certainly not off scot-free, but that's mostly on the offensive coordinator. His numbers were bad against the blitz. So I'll throw it to you, Ryan, first. What's the main area Jalen Hurts can improve in 2024 to kind of get back, in the positive?
Well, yeah, I think you said it earlier is picking up the blitz, like recognizing that what the defense is doing. Because I felt like there were certain times where listen, I'm nobody in this grand scheme of things of football, and if I can tell that you are blitzing and there is somebody that is going to come at you with zero stoppage, that's a problem. Like, you should be able to see that and adjust somehow. Again, I'm not in the room, so I don't know. We don't know. Nobody does. But I think it's that. I think it's kind of defense reading and getting back to what what made him great 2 years ago. So that's what I would say.
I want to see him utilize his legs more. That was huge. Just clearly hurt last year. In 2022. Yeah, he had 7 runs of 20 yards or more. Last year, just 2. And I would like to see Jalen Hurts to getting defenses back to second guessing. The RPO numbers, they did get better over time, but they were not crisp. The short passes, the underneath passes, the slants, even when they did run them, they were not on the same page. There were a lot of miscommunications. But I would like to see the Eagles get back to utilizing the run game to set up the pass game. Not saying like 70-30, but kind of get back to this offensive line and Jalen Hurts really cementing themselves as an elite run team. It's more so efficiency than volume. What about you, David?
To me, though, it came down to securing the football. He had more turnovers last year. He had just as many as he did in 21 and 22 combined. He had 15. He had 6 and 9 the first 2 years of 21 and 22. The turnovers killed drives. It took away points. And again, I think a lot of that was due to play design. A lot of it was due to him going rogue, as they said, trying to make things happen. But I think it comes down to just the turnovers. He secures the football. They win a lot more of those games. And I think that will happen this year. I don't think you'll see us reckless with the ball.
And the middle of the field, too. Let's get back to utilizing the middle of the field. In 2022, Jalen Hurts threw to the middle of the field 17% of the time. In 2023, that went down to 11%. That's 6%, man. That's easy money for Jalen Hurts to improve there. Davey says, I do believe Kellen Moore will be great for Jalen Hurts. Marshawn says, Jalen hit us with lessons learned, quote, enough times last year. Is the knee injury healed? I haven't heard anything. I think no news is good news.
I think they've officially decided to just act like it never existed. And since it never existed, there's no healing process. There's no timetable. So we're just going as, hey, no injury is good injury. We'll move forward. But yeah, you're right. I mean, that I think played a lot bigger role in that offense than people really want to give it any credit, because you're right. You saw a different Hurts. You saw a more in the pocket, not running out, not utilizing those legs, because 2 years ago, that threat, just the mere threat of that was enough to keep defenses honest. And I think that was to the Eagles' advantage, and they absolutely took advantage of it. But they didn't have that last year. So hopefully we can get back to that.
Issues versus the blitz and key turnovers and turning down clean pockets sometimes, and injury. A lot of that stuff I'd put good money on being fixed. Absolutely. Rudy Poo says Jalen lost a lot of his oral last season. Hopefully he can find it again. Let's roll on to our next question of the night. And that is, who is your top bounce back candidate for the Eagles in 2024? David, lead us off.
I went with Nakobe Dean, and I know a lot of people aren't going to like that, but I know he's small, he's injury prone. I hear all that crap, but everybody loved the Jeremiah Trotter Jr. pick, and he and Nakobe are the exact same size. He's gotten hurt in the pros. He didn't in college. None of these injuries are things that linger. They have been kind of fluke, weird things. It's not like he has some injury history that just continually happens over and over again. He knows this is a big season for him. This is year 3. he doesn't get it together here, he's probably not going to be on this team. And he knows that, and he wants to be a member of this team. 5 of his friends are on this team, and they're all going to be here a year later. I mean, he wants to make this work more than any of us wanted to make work. I mean, he was livid the way he fell in the draft due to the injury concerns, and then he turns out and gets hurt in back-to-back years, which kind of proved, what everyone was saying, why he fell in the draft. And he hates it, and he's angry. He's got a very big chip on his shoulder. So I'm expecting a big bounce back from him.
Yep. What about you, Ryan?
This one's an easy one for me, and it is our surprise. Well, actually, I'm kind of surprised that this is our leading vote getter. It's Jordan Davis. Listen, he has just as much to prove as Nakobe Dean. He was a first-round pick as opposed to a third-round pick. In fact, especially in this town, when you could have had this player, a.k.a. Hamilton, there's a lot more pressure on you in this town. And listen, he came in and he was a big, monstrous man, and unfortunately, he faded at the end of his first season. He comes in his second season. He sees his good buddy Jalen Carter next to him, and he starts off pretty decent season. He's actually surprisingly pretty decent still in the run, even though he again kind of faded down the stretch. But I think he's in the same boat as Nakobe. He has a lot to prove. Obviously he's not going to get the quick hook as Nakobe would, but he's right there. He's got to prove to why we took him in the first round. And he also has probably got a little chip on his shoulder because he came in, they drafted Jalen Carter, and Jalen Carter absolutely destroyed worlds last year at some of those games. And he sees his buddy right there getting the love and no love for him. And honestly, you saw him at the autism race. Looks like he slimmed down quite a bit, which is pretty significant when you're somebody that size, when you look that good, that big. So I'm excited to see what he brings. Hopefully he comes with a little bit of an attitude and something to prove this season.
Yep, that's a really good one. Marshawn says Jordan Davis and Joel share the same dietitian.
Do they really?
I don't know. I have no idea.
That's just a trolling joke because I get it.
Nakobe Dean being good turns this defense into a well above average unit. With all the help we've gotten at cornerback, I'm praying David is right. Mr. Rudy Prue bringing the fire. Daryl Morey is my bounce back candidate. I love it. Oh, and then he's backs that with a trading Embiid for a ransom. Oh my God.
That's bad.
I have no faith in Nakobe. He might re-injure that Liz Frank injury.
Chip. Oh man.
My bounce back candidate is CJ Gardner-Johnson. I can't wait to see him back in Philadelphia. He only played 291 snaps last year because of a torn pec. And he was pretty bad in that Lions loss to the 49ers. But, you look back at 2022 with the Eagles, man, he led the league in interceptions despite missing 5 games. He played all over the place, 23.2% at strong safety, 55% at free safety, 21.3% in the slot. This is a guy that has immense versatility for the Philadelphia Eagles defense. And I'm just excited to kind of get this kind of versatile defender that can play multiple positions, line up anywhere across the secondary with great instincts, triggers really well. He's a playmaker. Give me CJ Gardner-Johnson as a guy that can be, return to the tops of that, NFL secondary. I'm excited for CJ back here. And he's home. He's home again. I'm really happy about that. My big bounce back candidate is Big Dom. Oh my God.
Pretty good candidate.
That's an interesting one. I mean, when is he expected to return? That's
the thing. I haven't heard a single, actual date or weeks or whatever. But, it was week 18 that he, has a torn ACL. And I've seen him this offseason doing stuff that somebody with a torn ACL shouldn't be doing already.
He was running on Thursday. Granted, he was running straight. He was running lines. He wasn't going, nothing lateral.
Still,
he was running lines. He thinks and he said he will be back week 1. Who knows? But
that's insane.
He's a confident guy, but he was running, just not laterally, but he was running straight.
That's insane.
Just stay healthy, kid.
Seriously.
I'm so excited for Sidney Brown. That's the injury that like pisses me off, man. Anyway, let's roll on to our concerns. What concerns you the most about the 2024 Eagles roster, David?
It's the depth on offense at almost every position. It's RB2, it's tight end 2, it's wide receiver 3. I mean, we all saw what happened without A.J. Brown in the playoffs. Every single pass went to Devontae Smith. Nobody else contributed in that game. And not even Goddard. I mean, nobody did. I mean, he outperformed everybody by like 150 yards in that game, Devontae Smith did. I did not see the new tight end, CJ, at OTAs. I don't know if he's there today, but I did see him there last week. Every time that Dallas has gone out, they've had nothing. I mean, I don't know how many catches the two tight ends Grant got last year, but it was 5. I mean, it was basically no help whatsoever. And if Saquon goes down, you're looking at Kenny Gainwell as running back 2 to try to get 250 carries. I mean, I don't know, man. To me, it's the depth. It's an offensive league, and you need a little bit more depth. I love the starters, but I'm a little concerned about the depth.
What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, it's the linebackers. Listen, I've been preaching for linebackers, and listen, Devin White will absolutely help. And like our good buddy Rob is praying to all the gods that he knows, Devin White is the real deal and regains his All-Pro status. Listen, that's great, but if he goes down, my Lord, you are relying on Nakobe Dean, who, listen, we're all rooting for here, but has not proven a single thing, has proven that he can get injured. You have Jeremiah Trotter Jr., who, again, I love and advocated for us to draft, but he's a 5th-round rookie for a reason. And what else? Ben Summerin, again, the names get worse as you continue this story. So, yeah. I mean, listen, I'm just a little worried about the depth at linebacker. Even with White being there, we're relying on a lot for the rest of we're basically relying on Devin White to regain his former glory. We're relying on Nakobe Dean to be healthy and the linebacker that we all thought he could be. We're relying on Jeremiah Trotter to be the hidden gem and the legacy in Philadelphia. And, again, that's a lot in one room. I know it's improved and it's a little bit nitpicky, but I don't care. I want more. I want better. I don't know what they can do. Maybe they'll bring back, Zach, but I don't know.
But this is what all great teams have to, process they have to go through. Like at one point, Kansas City Chiefs fans were saying the same thing about their young pieces. They have to get on the field and they have to develop.
True.
And that's something the Eagles have just gotten away from.
Yeah.
My concern is the defensive tackle position, even though they've invested, 1st-round picks in Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. And we touched on this last night. Like the player that the Eagles can least afford to get hurt for me is Jalen Carter. If he goes down, it's almost like the A.J. Brown situation, just on the defense. You're screwed. And, knocking on that wood, but, that defensive tackle position, I expect Howie to really address it before, during, or after training camp, before the season starts. They need more bodies because I don't like the depth there. In fact, even Gabe Hall has a chance to make the 53-man roster. That's how weak it is at this point in time and thin. The other kind of concern I have, and it's not more of a concern, but it is what it is, and it's the Eagles' offense adjusting to Kellen Moore's new system in some regards. So for me, we have an offensive line that's never really kind of been thrown into a high motion, horizontal type of offense under Kellen Moore. We're going to have receivers run routes based on timing and not just isolation down the field, vertical routes that they're used to. And you look at Jalen Hurts, we're going to see him be under center a lot more in 2024. That's something he's not really been asked to do. He hasn't been asked to turn his back to the defense on play action. And, he hasn't shown that he can run an offense that focuses on hot routes when the defense blitzes. So there's definitely question marks. They're good question marks. And, it's necessary question marks for Hurts to take that next step. But there could be a learning curve. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right.
No. I like this comment here. No, I do not want Darius Leonard back. Although that one did kind of break my heart because he was a dude, but clearly fell off that cliff. So,
Rudy Boo says concerns. The same stank is still in the locker room. Do we get rid of all the disgruntled? That's the concern. We need more than just another body at defensive tackle. Howie needs to trade for a top guy. Another concern is the tush push cooked. Any thoughts on that, guys?
No, thanks.
Yeah, I think they're going to be just fine. I really think they're going to be just fine. Let's roll on to our next question. Our second to last question of the evening. Which player in the Eagles secondary could be the surprise cut during the initial 53-man roster? We've been talking about Isaiah Rodgers tonight a lot. We've been talking about Avonte Maddox a lot during OTAs. Let's lead it off with Ryan. Who could be that guy?
Yeah, I think you just said it. I think it's Avonte Maddox. I think we're all so used to Avonte being on this team as he has been for the last 5 or so years. But yeah, I think the injuries are finally piling up. We have actual people that can play the position, and not just him, because that's essentially why he had that position for a lot of those years, is because there was no other options. And so now we have options, and I think the injuries and all of that is finally, added up. And I think we have enough depth to finally let him go.
For me, I'm going Josh Jobe, and I like him a lot. And this is not an easy thing for me to say. I think he's been excellent on special teams, but I think when you look at the versatility and guys that he's competing against, I think it's going to be a tough make for Josh Jobe. What about you, David?
I think it's Avonte Maddox, but for a little bit different reason. They can cut him on the initial 53-man roster and put him on the practice squad. And since he's got the vet status, teams can't poach him. So they can put him there, then play around with IRs and do everything else they want to do, and then shake a hand, a wink, and he's back, at any time. He can stay on the practice squad until they need him because nobody can take him. He basically signed for league minimum, which means nobody else really wanted him. So, I don't think he has tons of opportunities out there. And I do agree with you with Jobe as well. It's basically him versus Ricks versus that Hall, the other slot corner that they got from
Raiders,
Las Vegas. So I don't know. But yeah, I think Maddox will probably initially be cut, but I don't think that's going to be long-term.
Yeah, I think Ricks is definitely on the outside looking in. I think he's got a better chance of making the practice squad too. Like that's going to be easy peasy for the Eagles. I think Jobe, I think he could definitely make another NFL team if he gets cut.
I like him. I'd be sorry to see him not on that special teams anymore. But with all the new rule changes, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, maybe they're going to see it a lot differently on the kickoff return.
Yeah, good call. Yeah, good call on that. We're going to be heartbroken when Isaiah Rodgers gets cut. Not really. All right. Last question of the evening. Way too early, but where do the Eagles rank among the top teams in the NFL? Ryan.
Yeah, listen, I think they're probably, I would say, I don't know, 7, 8 in that range, back end of the top 10. When you look at the NFC in itself, there's Dallas didn't do anything. I'm not worried about them. Obviously, everybody's going to overhype them, but The division seems absolutely ours to lose. Detroit certainly, is going to be up there. San Fran, AFC has their 5 or 6 teams there too. So I would say back end of the top 10 is where I'd likely put the Eagles right now, just because their roster is very talented.
What about you, David?
I have them around the 5-6 range. I think they're in the top 3-ish teams in the NFC, and I think if they were in the AFC, they'd probably be in the top 4 or so teams. I think anything short of a deep playoff run would be very disappointing the way this team was set up. He grabbed players that could play, Howie, that could make an impact immediately. And that was done for a reason. He didn't try a long-term build this time around. I think this team is built to win and compete now. He's sitting on a treasure chest of money. There will be somebody else on this team before the season starts. And I think it's going to look even better then.
All right. So I'm going to name some teams and you say under. Okay. Here we go. Chiefs, under.
Under.
49ers.
Under.
I think they compete with them. I don't know. I think they're equals.
I think they do compete with them, but again, you gotta.
I think they're on par. I think they're equal with them.
Yeah.
Well, they can't be. Choose.
How about Ravens?
Ooh, I think under. I like the Ravens this year.
Yeah, I'd probably say under.
Under. Lions.
I think they're better than the Lions.
Under.
Not a lot of consensus here.
Under.
Bengals.
Better.
Yeah, we're better than the Bengals.
Okay, so we're like around the 5 range. Texans.
Better.
Better?
Yeah, if I had to pick, I'm going to say better.
Yeah.
Oh, man. My browser.
Packers. I'm going to say better.
Yeah, Packers. Better?
Better for me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, right there. Like, we're around, I think, 5, 6. Around there.
Maybe.
Because
Bills?
Be real, fellas. Oh, Bills are definitely up there. That's a really good one. We call in for Kenny 2 gloves by week 4. Come on, man. All right.
Without Deibs in Buffalo, I'm taking the Eagles over them too.
All right.
A lot of people forgot. We went through that gauntlet last year, and they beat everybody at the beginning of that thing. They took out the Bills. They beat the Chiefs. I mean, then the wheels fell off, but they competed with the best teams in this league for much of the season. Until he got hurt, until everything went to hell, they were a pretty good team.
Well, and that's why I say around 7-8, because again, I think we just got so hurt and so surprisingly hurt about this team, because you were at the pinnacle. You were the best record team, and then all of a sudden you were pretty much the worst team.
You picked them to go 17-0 last year, Ryan. You picked them to every single game.
I did not.
Yes, you did. And so did I. I picked them every game.
Yeah. Well, yeah, obviously. When we're doing week by week, I think they're going to win every week. But preseason, I'm not going to pick them against 17.
But that's why I say defensive tackle is so important for the Eagles. I mean, you look at last year. As soon as they shortened their rotation, and you saw Davis playing more plays and Carter playing more plays, their production fell off a cliff.
Carter fell off after 6 or 7 weeks, to be fair. He was a monster the first 6 weeks, and he didn't, he wasn't able to sustain it. The 10-1, he doesn't agree, but I don't think it was fake. I think they were that good, and they just fell off. They got tired. Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis,
athletes, this is literally.
But they didn't play like that in college. They were up 30-0 at halftime. They played 1/3 of the snaps that they were being asked to in the NFL, and that's a conditioning problem. That's an Eagles conditioning problem.
Well, then we need to talk to Georgia and tell them to start conditioning their players better, so that when we keep drafting Georgia players, they're better suited for the NFL.
But when you play 300 snaps and you're being asked to play 650, like Fletcher Cox leaving, which is why I agree with Deibs, you lose a guy who he had more snaps than anybody else on that line. Who's taking them? And everybody keeps saying, oh, this guy can add 100, this guy can add 100. That's not how it works. That is not how. And those were Hall of Fame snaps he was playing. That guy has a legit chance to be in the Hall of Fame one day. And we're going to rely on Milton Williams. To be honest, that's the guy who's going to have to step up.
Household name.
By the way. All right. David, last question of the night. I'm so glad you said that.
I saw it.
David, is Milton Williams a household name?
No. No, he is not.
Hold on, let me pull it up.
I hope he is at season's end, but no, he is not.
I got shat on by my co-host.
Damn.
For calling, Milton Williams like a surprise, like improved kind of player for 2024. And they were saying Milton Williams is already a household name. And right now, 77% of the votes are saying he is not a household name.
Well, they're not Eagles fans. Sorry. If you don't know who Milton Williams is, you're not a true fan. I'm sorry. That's the line where I draw.
So you didn't say Eagles household name. You said
not what I said.
Wow.
I said a household name is not Eagles specific.
Right. But I'm saying the people who are voting right here on this little poll, all 10 votes, they're all Eagles fans for the most part. I'd say 90%.
I don't know about that. Eagles fans. No, we got a pretty general.
I'm just saying. I guarantee you 90% of them are Eagles fans.
That's true.
But
anyway, like household name is more like a guy that everybody knows.
Yes.
Well, and listen, I have no objectivity because I know all of these people and they're in my household. And I talk about
Saquon is a household name. AJ Brown is a household name. Fletcher Cox was a household name.
Is Devontae Smith a household name?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, but he's also a Heisman, and
they have to win too, though, Davey. It's not just the Eagles who have to prove that they're better than everybody else. The other teams have to prove that they're better too. I mean, the Bills lost Stephon Diggs. You can go through all these teams. I watch a lot of these shows. Every single guy who does one of these shows for every other single team is having the same discussions we are right now. Sure. And they're complaining about all of their holes, all of their problems, all of their injuries. Every single team has to prove that. It's not just the Eagles.
No doubt.
Why is the Chiefs getting a middle of the pack strength of schedule? That's key too. Like you look at the Lions, they are going to have a much tougher schedule this year. Like
it's their divisions.
Do you know how many 1:00 games the Houston Texans had last year?
All of them.
16.
Yeah, all of them. I don't know.
How many?
16.
Whoa. You telling me the Texans had 16 1:00'ers? Well, we had 3 and only 1 at home.
They're really 12 o'clock. They were noon games there. They were at noon there.
Okay, well, still, I'm drinking at 5 a.m., not 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Still, man, that angers me. I want Cox.
Yeah. Carter fell off after the injury in practice, was never the same. Remember Carding asking, what's that, when he was told about the rookie wall? Britton Covey is more of a household name.
Oh, that's messed up. You say that to Milton Williams' face. You will.
All right, let's wrap it up. David, final thoughts, Eagles, plugs, time's yours.
It is a hostile crowd today. Everybody's listening to some Eagle on Eagle crimes today. I don't know what the hell's going on tonight, but yeah, man. So yeah, you can follow me on PHL Eagle News. I have a piece coming out tomorrow on Kenny Gainwell. I know y'all are all thrilled about to read that. You better get used to it, buddy, because he ain't going anywhere. He's leading second most snaps in the OTAs, just like he did last year, which was kind of a precursor to where he's going to be. And I have a Jalen Hurts piece out about his advancement of women's rights, which is worth reading. And also
was a
about
great
Jalen Carter and the story of how the Eagles got him and why the Raiders passed on him and what factors the Eagles and Raiders decided made him a better fit for the Eagles. It's kind of interesting. And it came right from the Raiders GM's mouth. So check it out.
Very cool.
That was really good. I'm trying to pull up. Here we go. Who's going to get more touches between Gainwell and Will Shipley? And
It's
I think this is wrong. 57%. Now, to be fair, this was like relatively right after the draft. Right. So everyone's excited, but I do think it's Kenny Gainwell at RB2. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, listen, as much as I've had a history of hating on RB2 in this town, I could name them all because they're all in the back of my head with all the hate. But and I'm not a big fan of Kenny Gainwell. He unfortunately, for this year at least, is still going to be RB2 unless something crazy happens. So
unless there's injuries, this Gainwell will be RB2.
Yeah, just don't run him, inside the 20. When
I think that's the exact reason of why Gainwell will be RB2 because they don't care. They're gonna run him right to the damn ground. It doesn't matter.
For me, it's all about Will Shipley's pass protection, and if he can show during training camp that he's picking things up fast and holding his own there, I think he's got a chance. But right now, it's absolutely Gainwell. All right. Ryan, final thoughts, plugs.
Listen, we got a long way to go before some meaningful, even training camp footage here. So hold on tight. We'll be here every week talking through. Apparently, we're going to be doing the worst drafts picks by the Eagles. So seriously. That Marshawn was a great suggestion. We need your help. Send us your suggestions. We'll do a show on anything, honestly. Let's be honest. So send us your ideas. We'll be glad to do some fun shows because the off season was a little rough. But anyway, normally Monday 6:00 football smack talk show, 9:00 with this guy over here, Party on Broad. Obviously the best show in the business every Tuesday at 8:00. The Birds of the Round Table. And then, sometimes I'll pop in here and there on Edge of Philly Sports. So just make sure you're following right here and Edge of Philly Sports on all your social media platforms. Hit all the buttons, the follows, the subscribes, the likes, the shares, all of them. Hit them all at once. Send this to your friends. They'll thank you later.
If I can interject with one comment, Ryan would love to do a roster of the worst picks because he's coming last in all of our draft battles. So he could just play the way he always does.
Did I go last week?
Roster.
Did I get destroyed last week?
I don't even know if they did the polls, but every time you lose. So
that is not true.
Because it doesn't even matter. You lose.
That is not true. I had a bad, offensive draft.
Yeah. So we did.
I like my team.
We did.
I had 3 UDFAs.
We did an all NFC offense and all NFC defense draft, and we had you guys vote for who had the best. Shane won the offense one. I don't even know if the defense one was out. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah, Shane won because of Jalen Hurts. That killed us all.
1,000%. Well, I'm hoping I win because of Micah Parsons.
All right, so be on the lookout. We'll definitely tweet that out shortly. So we got a couple drafts planned. We'll do worst Eagles players of all time draft. That's going to be a lot of fun. And we're also going to lighten things up maybe and do a best football movie character draft. I think that would be really fun.
I love that idea.
And we should definitely do another round of questions like we did a few shows of just thinking of questions to ask each other and vote to see who wins.
Yeah, those are always fun.
So the audience can destroy me again. I love it. We should do it again every week.
All right, listen, we won't do it the second you host. So
I might lose 2 followers this week. I don't know, man. It might be my turn.
I'm guaranteed.
All right, guys, that does it for Birds of the Round Table. One last time, he is Ryan Reese. Give him a shout out on X at Philly Sports PSA. David down there at PHL Eagle News. I'm Deibs, Mr. Crockpot, for Ryan, for David, for myself. See you next Tuesday at 8 for Birds of the Roundtable. Stay awesome.